Hi, my name is Bri and welcome to my channel. This is my first video. I've recently had weight loss surgery and I just wanted to basically share my journey. It's been so long as far as the process and getting everything done and even post-op. So I just wanted to tell my story. And also I have an obsession with makeup, so I decided to put the two together. And basically I just called it Bariatrics and Blush because during this series I'm just going to explain everything about my bariatric experience, things that I went through, things that I'm currently dealing with. I'm only post-op 6 months and I've recently lost 120 pounds within that time frame. So I just wanted to take you guys on the journey with me and let's get into it. So let's start off with the major first question that everybody has is, what made me get weight loss surgery in the first place? Obviously I am plus sized. I'm still plus size. I'm always gonna be plus size. I'm not gonna take that away from, you know, my life. I was a 10-pound baby. Like, this isn't going anywhere. So basically, you know, I've always been, let's face it, fat or bigger than most people that I grew up with. And that didn't affect me too much other than I didn't have the same experiences that a lot of my friends did, as far as, you know, getting picked on and that whole story. You know, everybody gets picked on in school, but it was always about my weight, never about anything else. You know, I was a smart kid, I was a quiet kid, I kept to myself, was never in trouble. So the only thing that people could talk about was the fact that I was big. That's it. Can't call me ugly, but you can call me fat. But yeah, so I've always been bigger than everybody else. My mom's big, my dad's big. It was just bound to happen with their baby. So I spent most of my life basically just owning it. Like, I didn't let it affect my confidence or like the way I carried myself or anything like that, my relationships or anything. So I guess it wasn't that bad as far as growing up, but I mean, it could have been better, you know, but I digress. So why I decided to get weight loss surgery. Basically in my 20s, that my 20s, my early 30s, like I'm 31, but that was the heaviest I have been in my entire life. And I just didn't feel good. Like, I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how I breathed. Basically, I was having a lot of medical issues and whatnot. So I decided to go to the doctor. So yeah, I wasn't feeling very well at all, as far as physically, mentally, anything like that. So when I was about 24, I went to the doctor and she ran blood tests. I never really had blood tests or anything like that done. When I would go to the doctor, they would just say, you know, lose some weight and you'll feel better, like they do for most people. Any medical issue you have, they think it's because of your weight. But really, in my case, it was the truth, because I was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 24. It really broke my heart. It honestly did. Like, my grandmother had diabetes, and unfortunately she passed from complications with it. My dad had diabetes. My mom was pre-diabetic. So yeah, it was like a hereditary type thing, but obviously my weight had something to do with it. So I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby for days and days and days. I was like, oh, my life is over. Like, this is my demise, you know? But I think at that point, I just gave up. Like, I just stopped being me, basically. I felt like, what was the point, you know? Is most people who are diabetic get diabetes when they're older. Like, they've lived their lives. They had kids. They had long lives and experiences, and I just felt like, I'm 24. I haven't even started living my life yet, really. So I fell into sort of like a depression, and I really let it get to me for a little while. I did. Now, not to say that, you know, I didn't try and work on my health. I definitely did. I went to an endocrinologist every, like 3 months, I think. So every 3 months I would go to the endocrinologist and then get blood work, prick my finger every day, like the whole nine. And it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It was, whew. Yeah, so go to the doctor every 3 to 6 months. I tried keto, which is supposed to be really good for diabetics. And granted, I did have success with keto. I lost like 50 pounds. The only thing that I struggled with keto is basically staying consistent with it. Like, yeah, I'll lose 50 pounds in like no time, like less than 3 months. But as soon as I started even thinking about food that was outside of keto, like, weight would just pile back on, and then I would lose it, and then I would pile back on, and then I would lose it. And it was just a constant, like, struggle for years. I think I did keto on and off for like 5 or 6 years, and the most I lost was like 73 pounds. So, not to take anything away from keto, I mainly try and do low carb now after surgery, but with my health situation, as far as my blood sugars, it helped minimally, honestly. So the doctor prescribed me Trulicity, which a lot of people talk about Ozempic, which I've tried Ozempic too, and I was sick as a dog. I was sick. I was nauseous. Like, it was the worst. I don't know how people do it. Stay on Ozempic for like months and months and months at a time. Ooh, Jesus. But yeah, I did Ozempic. I did Trulicity, which is like another form of Ozempic. And I think the lowest my blood sugars got down to was about an A1C of about 7 or 8, which normal blood sugars are 5 to 5.6 or lower, like 4.6 to 5.6 for non-diabetics. So yeah, it was helpful. Granted, when I got diabetes, my A1C was a 12. So yeah, it helped, but I was still big. Blood sugar still high, no matter how much diet stuff I would buy, low sugar, no sugar. Like, blood sugars just, they weren't going anywhere. I tried everything as far as metformin, which is like a pill for diabetes that's supposed to help with weight loss. It didn't, made me sick. So pretty much everything that I tried just wasn't working for me, and I really wanted to give up. It was just like, you know, take me out. Take me out the game. Like, I'm done trying. Like, diabetes is just what I'm gonna have. So my endocrinologist was the one that was such a stickler. Like, literally every time I would go to the doctor, he'd be like, have you thought about weight loss surgery? It's like he never met me in his life. But he was like, have you thought about weight loss surgery? Have you thought about weight loss surgery? It was like, my insurance does not cover it. I don't know why you keep asking me that. You know, I'm here. Check my blood sugars. Let's go. But anyway, he just kept pushing weight loss surgery, weight loss surgery, weight loss surgery. And I wanted it. Granted, like, years before that, I started doing research on weight loss surgery. And, you know, at that time, like, early, like, 2010, 11, 12, not many jobs were covering that in their insurance. And the cost was just absorbent. Like, it was not possible to pay that out of pocket. It was, and then like going to Mexico and stuff like that, that wasn't really like a thing then. I know it's very popular now and a way more affordable option for people, but that wasn't a thing for me. So I forgot about it. Like, he just mentioned it every time I go, and I would be like, yeah, doc, I know, but keep it moving. And when I was going to that endocrinologist, I had the same job. I still have the same job. And they didn't offer it at the time. But in, I think, 2019, they let us know finally that weight loss surgery was covered. And I was pumped. Like, I was like, oh, you know, as soon as the year is up, I'm gonna make an appointment. I'm gonna do this and that. Like, I had so many plans, you know. And the insurance is very like, when you're going through insurance, there's a lot of loopholes you have to go through, and I guess I'll go through that in another video, maybe the next one. But it's a lot to go through as far as loops and holes and qualifications. Being that I was diabetic and over a certain BMI, I definitely qualified. But let's get into why I had to go through pre-op twice. Now, I am going to do like a very in-depth story time, I guess, about why I had to go through pre-op twice. Like, basically, it took 2 years in order for me to actually get on the operating table. From where I started going to classes up into like, oh, I'm in the hospital, like they're rolling me back. We all know what happened in 2020. We're not gonna get in depth about that, but the world shut down, and so did my surgeon's office. So it was pretty much up in the air, like, oh, you know, that's an elective surgery. We don't know when they're going to, you know, let you guys come back and even have that as an option. And I was like, here we go. More waiting. Oh, I forgot to mention that everything that I will be using today will be linked in my description box. There's no gatekeeping over here. So, yeah, 2019 was a doozy. Well, 2020 was a doozy. Not only was the world shutting down, I had a breakup, my longest relationship that I had been in right before COVID started. So I quit. I was like, you know, like, I've got stuff to do, emotions to handle, family to take care of. I wasn't in the mindset of thinking about myself at all. So there, like a lot of people during COVID, I gained weight. I gained mad, well, I won't say I gained mad weight, but I gained like 20 pounds in a couple of months. And I was like, you know, let me try keto one more time. And if, I don't know what I was thinking, but if nothing miraculous happens, like I stick it out this time and, you know, this is the last time that I'm gonna do keto. If it doesn't work this time, then weight loss surgery it is. I'll just start the whole process over. So, did keto for 3 months. Lost like 15, 20 pounds. I was like, you know what? Forget it. So I went back to the same surgeon that I had initially started the process with. And he was like, yeah, you know, your insurance still covers it. But it went down from a year process, because the first time I had to do it, you had to go through 6 months of classes. They bumped it down to 3. I was like, oh, 3 classes? I can do that. So it would have taken only 3 months this time to like get the whole process done. Mind you, there's tests you have to go through, psych appointments, dietitian appointments, all that stuff for you to even be considered by my surgeon. Granted, all programs are different, but I sought this office out because they were one of the best in the area. So that's what he wanted, and that's just what I had to do. So I gave you the whole backstory of, you know, being plus sized and being diabetic. But I wouldn't say, yeah, my health was always a reason. I definitely care about my health and I wanted to be healthier. It was never the thought of, oh, like, I don't like how I look, or I just want to be skinny. It was never that. But the determining factor, like, of this is something I have to do, was my mom. And I lost my mom last year. And she knew, because I didn't tell anyone that I wanted weight loss surgery, or I was thinking about getting weight loss surgery, except for my partner at the time and my mom. And she was the supportive one, let's say. Not to say that he wasn't supportive, but he just, well, we're not gonna get into it. But she was the one who was like, you know what, if this is what you want to do and it's what's gonna make you happy and healthy and around, it's what I want you to do. And she was like, whatever you need as far as support or a pat on the back or someone to take care of you after, she was willing to do that. Mind you, my mom was sick, so I would never put that on her anyway. But you know, it's always nice to hear that. So I appreciate her for that. So after she passed away, and I'm not gonna get emotional. After she passed away, I decided, like, because I had already met my husband. He was my boyfriend at the time. We sat down and we had a talk. I was like, you know, this is something my mom would want me to do. She would want me to be around for longer than I was, like, had I kept having, you know, all the complications I was going through and sickness and hospitalizations and all this stuff. Like, I wouldn't have been around for that long, honestly. So he was like, you know what, this is something you have to do for your mom. And I took that to heart. I was like, you know what, you're right, I'm pump this out for my mom. So I had surgery on April 22nd of this year, 2022. And I'm thankful, honestly, truly. I'm thankful that I had a support system in place, because that is majorly important. Like, they literally ask you that in your appointments when you go, is do you have a support system? Because you're gonna need somebody to lean on, whether it's family or a partner, a friend, a dog. Because my dog was all I had before I met him, and my mom. And of course I have family. Like, I have my auntie and my uncles and my cousins. But you really have to have someone in your corner, because this is a life-changing decision. Like, most people think like, oh, well, it's just your stomach getting cut out. It's not. It's really not. It's really a transition as far as, at least I can only speak for me, but like, my mental health has drastically improved since getting weight loss surgery. I suffered from anxiety. Like, my anxiety was really high, mainly from outside factors, like people around me and situations I was in. Like, they really, you know, affected me. But now I feel like, since I have a second chance at life, why not go out and do everything that I wanted to do? I don't have a sentence on me anymore that, you know, if you don't achieve this by 26, then, you know, oh well. Like, I don't have that mind frame anymore since getting surgery. And I had was called duodenal switch, or some people say duodenal switch. It's used interchangeably, I found. But basically, the way my doctor explained it was almost like magic. Like, oh, you're gonna wake up and you're just, you know, you're not gonna be diabetic anymore. I was like, what? Like, how's that work? I still don't know how it works, but it worked. And granted, that doesn't happen for everyone. It doesn't happen overnight. For a lot of people, like, I know a lot of people that had duodenal switch and still suffer with diabetes. But I'm thankful that it worked. Like, my blood sugar's normal. I had blood work. Well, I had my 6-month appointment. I think it was yesterday. No, my days are off. It was Thursday of this week. So yeah, it was on 2 days ago. And they just go over like your blood work, and you know, your vitamins are very important, so they test your vitamin levels and everything like that. And my blood sugar was 5.0 as far as A1C, so I'm considered normal, which I'm so excited about. But so I guess next I'll go over the type of surgery, because apparently a lot of people haven't heard of it. The most common weight loss surgeries now are either VSG or gastric bypass. It's very rare. Well, I won't say very rare, but when I was researching duodenal switch, I didn't find much of anything. I didn't find many people's experiences with it. But the doctor explained to me that being the weight that I was over 400 pounds. VSG just wasn't an option for me, because a lot of the time with VSG surgery, you lose a certain amount of weight. Like, your body, at least with people that are my size, you stop losing weight at a certain point. The most I would have been able to lose on VSG would have been about 120 pounds, according to my surgeon. And the fact that I had diabetes, malabsorption surgery was the best route for me. So I either had the choice of gastric bypass or duodenal switch. And gastric bypass has what people call dumping. So with dumping, if you eat anything that your body doesn't necessarily agree with, say like sugar or sometimes carbs or anything like that, like, you will physically get sick. And that's just not something that I wanted to deal with. And my doctor doesn't recommend it for a lot of people because of dumping. So, but it's still a great option because a lot of doctors don't do duodenal switch, I've noticed. You have to go to a very trained surgeon as far as that type of surgery. It's still it's not an invasive surgery. Like, it's still with a robot, so it's still similar with VSG. Like, technically it's like a duodenal switch is if VSG and Bypass had a baby is the way I like to explain it. So I do have a tiny tummy, but I also malabsorb, so I don't only absorb about 20% of fat and about, I think, 40% carbs. So that is a bonus. And we don't dump because we have a functioning pylorus, I think it's pronounced. So if you are looking into weight loss surgery, see if duodenal switch is something that your surgeon offers. A lot of the time, like these Facebook group, like the weight loss groups on Facebook are infamous. But a lot of the times girls that go out and get other weight loss surgeries, the last resort is duodenal switch because you lose the most amount of weight. So if your previous surgery didn't work for you, a lot of people go back and revert to duodenal switch. And I wanted one surgery only, one lifetime. I don't want to be cut open again for any reason that I don't have to. So since losing 120 pounds, I've already discussed that I'm not diabetic anymore, so that's an advantage. And my quality of life has changed drastically. Like, I can go upstairs without being winded or being embarrassed that I'm breathing hard, or, you know. So this is the final look. I just put a lash on and some gloss and liner. But if you guys like this video, just like and subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Bri.Switched on Instagram and TikTok. So just follow me, and I hope you guys stick around for the journey. Thanks.